Well, thank you. It's been my pleasure to welcome Foreign Secretary Johnson on his first visit to New Zealand over the last couple of days. The relationship between New Zealand and the United Kingdom is a hugely important one. It's a relationship that's deeply rooted in our shared history and heritage, but it's also a forward-looking modern relationship. In our meeting today, the Prime Minister and I and the Foreign Secretary were able to discuss a number of matters that are relating to our close friendship and the challenges faced by us in the context of our partner, the United Kingdom, post-Brexit. We reconfirmed our strong interest in swiftly concluding a bilateral free trade agreement with the United Kingdom once it has formally exited the European Union. A comprehensive, high-quality agreement will help drive economic growth and bring our two countries even closer together. We also discussed the strong personal connections between the peoples of New Zealand and the United Kingdom, and how we might look to support and foster those links. In this regard, the Foreign Secretary and I agreed to launch a people-to-people dialogue. The dialogue will provide a forum for discussing many issues of mutual interest, including how we can improve opportunities that exist for our citizens to live and work in each other's countries. We also agreed to deepen collaboration on our shared interest in social investment, taking a data-driven approach to supporting effective social policy development and implementation. This means working together to understand the underlying causes of social problems and using data to pinpoint where resources will have maximum impact in addressing these. I'm pleased that our meeting today facilitated the exchange of letters between Prime Minister English and Prime Minister May on our intention to work more closely together in that particular space. The Foreign Secretary and I also discussed a range of international peace and security issues. Like New Zealand, the United Kingdom has strongly condemned North Korea's recent provocations. North Korea has tested more than a dozen missiles this year in clear violation of the United Nations Security Council resolutions. And I reaffirm to Foreign Secretary Johnson that New Zealand will continue to support international efforts to bring stability to the region. The United Kingdom has suffered a number of devastating terrorist attacks in recent months. I took the opportunity to convey in person New Zealand's sympathies for the tragic loss of life caused by these cowardly attacks. We stand in solidarity with the people of the United Kingdom now, as we have always done. And I reconfirmed that New Zealand remains firmly committed to the global coalition to defeat ISIS and see the end of the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. We must continue to stand together in our efforts to defeat those sorts of terrorist threats. Finally, I want to thank Secretary Johnson for making this journey to New Zealand. I think it's interesting, sir, that you come here hot on the heels of what was an incredibly successful Lions tour to New Zealand. I think the warmth between our two peoples was very much on display during that time. Your countrymen are wonderful tourists, and we all enjoyed having them here. And I think it's interesting to note that even at the end of the series itself, both sides were sort of somewhat perplexed about what had just happened. So we're able to walk away in full friendship and enjoyment of each other's company. And we know too that you are going through a period of reorganisation at the moment, post Britain's decision to exit the European Union. And we appreciate that that will take quite a bit of effort and time, and that as you start to look outward, we're appreciative that your visit down here at the moment signals that you're also looking towards this bottom end of the South Pacific and your very close friends who are here in that context. So finally, sir, we will remain a very strong and staunch ally of the United Kingdom and friend to the people of the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much, Gerry, and good morning, everybody. Absolutely delighted to be here in New Zealand, as you say, Gerry, for the first time in my 53 years. An absolute disgrace that I've waited so long, but it is really wonderful and eye-opening to be here and to learn something about this incredible country to learn. I think the most striking thing I think was yesterday going down to Kaikoura and seeing the dynamism and the resilience of the people who are rebuilding those roads and railway line there after the earthquake with a confidence and a dispatch that I think is truly admirable. I know you're going to get it done in record time, and I took the chance too to thank members of the local community in Kaikoura for their generosity and their kindness to I think about 200 UK nationals who were stranded there, and in fact who were treated so well that they showed great reluctance to leave, being fed as they were on a diet of crayfish, as I understand it, and a tribute to the incredible attractions of this country. I was honoured yesterday to unveil the memorial at Pukeahu and pay tribute to those New Zealanders who fought side by side with their British comrades in the conflict of the past century. And I hope that beautifully designed monument made by the Weta workshop will serve as a continuing symbol of the friendship between our two countries, which, Gerry, you rightly identify. It's also an honour to visit this fantastic parliament, reminiscent in its democratic principles exactly of the one I come from in the UK. And it was an extraordinary experience, really, with you and with Prime Minister English to go over that range of issues that we did. And I think, to an almost embarrassing degree, there was a total failure to disagree on any point of substance. These are two countries that really do think on the same lines on so many of the issues that matter to our people and to our electorates. We agreed about North Korea and the threat that is posed by the nuclear adventurism of that regime. We agreed about the importance of sticking up for the rules-based international order, something that both New Zealand and the UK stand for. We agreed about fighting terror, sharing intelligence, and many other matters. Thanks very much to you, Gerry, for being such a generous host. We've enjoyed very good discussions yesterday and today, and those discussions will now continue. We have indeed launched a people-to-people dialogue. I don't know whether a people-to-people dialogue. I don't know how you can have a dialogue that doesn't involve people, but this is good. I suppose it's distinct from a bureaucrat to bureaucrat dialogue, or a trade representative to trade representative dialogue. But anyway, it's a people-to-people dialogue.
It's a diplomatic term that generally doesn't recognise politicians.
I think it's designed to exclude you and me, and maybe that's a good thing, Gerry. What I hope that it will do is is strengthen, if that were possible, the relationship between our two countries. And we're going to consider measures on secondments and exchanges with a view to firming up what is already a very profound friendship between Britain and New Zealand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Secretary. We'll now take some questions from the media. The first question is from Boris, who's talked to Steve for the Foreign Secretary.
Mr. Johnson, you said last night that New Zealand, in terms of trade, would be very close to the front of the queue.
At or near to, yes, I think that's. Yes.
So how are you going to feed the British Parliament, who don't like the idea of sheep meat and butter coming into Britain, and with the Irish, would you still be able to do a deal with them if they will remain with the EU?
Well, as you know, we already are the proud and grateful recipients of quite a lot of New Zealand sheep meat and indeed butter. I think my grandmother would buy absolutely nothing else but Anchor butter, I want you to know, as a mark of political principle. I seem to recall, and we are that will of course continue. I think the key thing to stress here is that no one's going to be any worse off. No party in the deal that we're going to do is going to be any worse off. We're going to get a great deal that works for everybody,
About the Irish.
Including them, particularly them.
The next question is from Tracy Watson from Staff, the Foreign Secretary. Foreign Secretary, I was just going to ask you further about the people-to-people dialogue.
Yes.
And that sort of freedom of travel
Yes.
to the UK. I guess one of the things most Kiwis would want to know, and it's that will, is can we actually expect greater access after that? And what guarantees can you give that actually current rules around ancestry visas and working holidays won't be made harder rather than easier, given the current mood against immigration?
Right. Well, the first thing to say is that I used to be the mayor of London, which was a city that I think a bit like Auckland actually was incredibly diverse, multiracial, all the rest of it, and in my view benefited from being open to talent. 40% of Londoners are born abroad. I think it's 43% of people of Auckland. I think being open to talent is a great thing. But in any society, you've got to manage it and you've got to control it. And people have got a democratic right to feel that their government is in charge of the situation. And that was a bit what the whole Brexit thing was about. It wasn't that people were hostile to immigrants. They weren't hostile to people with talent and energy coming to the UK. They just wanted to feel that the British government had a handle on it. And that's what we're going to do. And that does not mean that we are in any way going to make life, to get to your point, more difficult for New Zealanders. On the contrary, we massively value, we love Kiwis coming to our country, and it makes a huge difference to our economy that we have people of talent and ambition who want to come, and even if it's only for a short time, and then go back again. So on the ancestry visas and the overseas experience and stuff like that. No, we will want to maintain a regime that is at least as attractive as the current regime, and we will want to maintain a policy of openness and engagement. If I can just make one thing absolutely clear, I say this when I'm blue in the face: Brexit was not, will not be about Britain turning away from the world. On the contrary, it is about us wanting to, of course, to keep great relations with our European friends and partners and to do a great free trade deal with them. But it is also about rediscovering and intensifying friendships and partnerships around the world. And as I said last night, in trying to do that, we see New Zealanders at or near the front of the queue.
The third question is from Ana da Costa of Reuters, the Foreign Secretary. Hi there. I'm wondering to what extent you think that infighting in the Conservative Party at the moment might compromise the deal before the two-year
Well, I have to say, I don't wish in any way to sound complacent, but I've been traveling in Japan and now in beautiful New Zealand, and any such activities completely pass me by. I don't, but nor am I aware that no one has sent me news of any such infighting. I don't think what you have is a government that is determined. Let's be clear: the election did not evolve entirely in the way that the government had hoped or would have wanted. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. But the Labour Party did not win. They're 56 seats behind. We have a workable system of getting stuff through the House of Commons. We have a workable majority. With our friends from Northern Ireland, we are getting on with the business of governing, which is overwhelmingly what the British people want to see. And I think our friends and partners around the world can be confident that we're going to get this thing done and done in style.
The final question is again for you, Foreign Secretary, from Patrick.
Well, I think Gerry could have answered the last one.
Not from this guy.
Question for the Foreign Secretary. I'm not sure if you heard yesterday, but at the whose memorial, an Englishman, a man, actually called out Boris 4 p.m. So my question is, can you rule out challenging for the Tory leadership or taking the Tory leadership in some other form this parliamentary term?
Well, I don't know whether you were as eagle-eyed as I was at the that wonderful ceremony yesterday, but I also spotted a protester who took a diametrically opposite view. I look. I think I referred to the answer I gave to Reuters just a moment or two ago. What the British people want to see is a government that gets on with the job. They've got that with Theresa, and we are going to deliver a great Brexit deal, a deal that works for our European friends, for the UK, but also, of course, works for New Zealand.
But do you rule out a challenge?
Look, what the British people want to see is us getting on with the job, and they see no vacancy, nor do they see any need for any more political kerfuffle.
Thank you, Foreign Secretary. That wraps up the conference.
Thank you.